we actually have a great piece of legislation that we're going to sign here today, and I couldn't think of a better place to sign. Today, I am signing HB 395, which will officially designate November 7th as Victims of Communism Day to honor the more than 100 million people who have fallen victim to communist regimes across the world.
Soy Juan Mendoza reportando para Los Rebeldes. El gobernador de Florida, Ron DeSantis, tuvo una conferencia en la Torre de la Libertad en Miami, Florida, donde honró a las víctimas del comunismo. Durante esa conferencia, firmó legislaturas para darle apoyo financiero al edificio, hacer el 7 de noviembre el día honrando a las víctimas del comunismo y asegurar que los estudiantes de la preparatoria en el estado de Florida aprendan sobre la maldad del comunismo y los gobiernos comunistas.
Freedom is not free, that you have to fight for your rights, and that there are a lot of people out there that would love nothing more than to put you under some form of oppression. And so we're going to maybe talk about the budget, but before that, we actually have a great piece of legislation that we're going to sign here today, and I couldn't think of a better place to sign. Today, I am signing HB 395, which will officially designate November 7th as Victims of Communism Day to honor the more than 100 million people who have fallen victim to communist regimes across the world. Make sure that every year folks in Florida, but particularly our students, will learn about the evils of communism, the dictators that have led communist regimes, and the hundreds of millions of individuals who suffered and continue to suffer under the weight of this discredited ideology.
Next July will mark the 10 years anniversary of the killing of my father at the hands of the Cuban regime. But sadly, my father was not the only one killed that day. My dear friend Harold Cepeda, 32 years old, was also killed 10 years ago. As thousands of Cubans before them during these 6 decades. Actually, as also some Cubans after them, as last July 11th, when Luis Laurencio was shot down in the street just because he was filming a peaceful protest. Actually, while we talk today, at least 1,000 Cubans are suffering political prison just for peacefully marching, demanding freedom, demanding the end of communism. The same evil that now is going to be taught at the schools in whole Florida, also to commemorate all the victims. Actually, I'm now looking at the room and I'm recognizing victims of communism while I talk. It's time to stop this process, this factory of victims that is the communism.
What this legislation represents, what this Freedom Tower represents, we've got to be willing to speak out when we see things that aren't consistent with our values in our own country. And most recently, having the federal government set up a disinformation bureau in the Department of Homeland Security is wrong. What they are doing to try to stifle dissent, to try to elevate a chosen political narrative that's endorsed by the regime, and to try to marginalize dissenters is not what a free society is all about. And what they will use that for, I believe, is to feed the social media platforms with what they want to be censored and not want to be censored. And I'm just thankful that Elon Musk is taking over Twitter. He's going to open it up. And when he first did the offer, the board tried to fend it off because I think it was a great offer financially. And And then, of course, if you look, his track record with companies is probably second to none. So he's going to improve the company for sure. But they were worried about him being in control and then them losing control of the narrative, because a lot of the stuff that's been censored over the last few years has turned out to be true. When you look at a lot of the stuff, I mean, there were guys that they were hammering me because I said kids needed to be in school in 2020, and they had all these people saying all this stuff. Now, no one will even admit that they wanted the kids, like, even though many people did, including in Florida, who were fighting for politics reasons. So you see all these different things, and that, I think, is really what some of these social media platforms have become, is, you know, they want to enforce one viewpoint and one narrative. And then if you speak out against that, maybe you'll be suspended, maybe you'll be totally deplatformed, maybe your post will be censored. They even do it for satire sites like the Babylon Bee. And that's one of the reasons why I think Musk was interested in doing the Twitter. So the opposition to what he was trying to do was not rooted in business judgment. It wasn't an economic objection. It was an objection for them losing control of the narrative. I think it's a good thing that they lose control of the narrative. I think it's a good thing that Americans are able to speak out, and particularly when a lot of these false narratives are trying to be shoved down the throat with some of these major companies. And so we made it be clear in Florida, like, our pension happened to have Twitter shares, we would have had standing to pursue action against the board of directors if they violated their fiduciary obligations. So we let it be known we were willing to do that. The board of administration sent all the board of directors for Twitter a letter, and I think that they realized, oh, I just floored a lot of people were watching this, and so being able to accept it and go forward was the right business judgment to make. I think our pension fund's going to make like $15 million out of that transaction, which is positive for our pensioners. But I think more important to me than just the dollars and cents is doubling down on free expression. There's no orthodoxy that the government can impose on us. We're able to speak our mind, and that disinformation bureau needs to go the way of the buffalo. We need to eliminate that. That is a big danger to free expression in this country. Okay, we're going to get going. Oh yeah, of course. All right, so this is the victims of communism.
Muchas gracias por ver este video. Nuestro periodismo es posible porque ustedes, la audiencia, donan dinero para ayudarnos a expandir y traerles historias como estas. Si quieren ayudarnos para expandir y traer más historias como estas, pueden ir a losrebeldes.com.